Hi everyone. You're probably on this channel because you want to photograph the auroras tonight or another night and you want some quick tips. I've had lots of messages this morning about my photos last night, about what settings do I need, what stuff do I do, how do I do long exposures. So I thought I would quickly sort of simulate a setup in my office to kind of show you what that is. I guess the most important thing that you'll need, which is here, is your camera. Your camera is important, and a good tripod. That's what you're going to need, right? In terms of it, that's pretty much your basic setup, and we'll talk about that. Nice to haves are a head torch, and most importantly, a head torch with the red light, because the red light doesn't interfere with the photography, and an intervalometer or a cable shutter release. You don't touch your camera. If you have those though, you probably know what you're doing, so it's okay. So bear with me on this little setup. So I've got the little tripod sort of zoomed in on the picture. It's quite dark at the moment, so if I close the blinds, this would get really dark. Digi showing off its low light capabilities here. So the first thing I want to show you is setting this into manual. So on your camera here, and every camera's the same, there will be an automatic or manual. So if you flick that to manual, right, then on your camera, you will then be able to manually set that. So you can see on here, can you see this bar right down here is moving between where my focus is. So that's like not in focus, and that's meant to be more in focus. It's going to be hard to do this on the live screen because it's very hard to do this on Astro, but the best thing to do is to try and zoom into somewhere. Yeah, I think I'm going to really struggle here. But zoom in on your camera to a star or something that's very bright that you want to get into focus. And most of the time, if you're at infinity, you're going to be okay. Yep. Then the next thing to do is to try your settings. So my advice would be to start off at 400 ISO, the lowest aperture you can get. Mine goes f4 on my lens at 24mm. You're going to want to be at 24mm, or if you got whatever the lowest you can be, go for the lowest, and then start at 20 seconds and see how that goes. It's not going to show you, especially with DSLR, it's not going to show you the settings on the screen as it does on the mirrors. I just think the settings I've got trying to mimic this is why it's becoming blurry. So if that's your kind of settings, you're starting off ISO 400, f4 or f2.8 if you can. And if you go at f2.8, you might be able to get away with 200 ISO, but try that. Then on every camera is different. On Nikon, I've got this little icon here. So if I press that, it gives me shutter menu options. And I can go across to here, which is self-timer. See, it's 2 seconds. And if I click down on that, it then tells me how long do I want the delay to be. So 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and number of shots. So what I'm going to do is do a 2 second timer delay with a 1 shot. Hit OK, that will all be set. So what this does is this will basically say once I press the button on the top, delay for 2 seconds, then take my photo, which will then be of 20 seconds. The reason you want to do that is to avoid camera shake. So let me show you. So if I press that now, there you go, the timer went off. I'm nowhere near the camera, so it's going to be very stable, which means that I'm not going to get any blur. I'm not going to get any motion blur from me moving, which is the key thing. And there you go. Obviously, I can't, trying to take a picture of a picture on a screen, it's going to be quite challenging, which is why that's blurry, but it just gives you an idea of how to capture that light. And if you find that it's too bright, then reduce your exposure. So reduce your shutter speed would be my advice, and see how that goes. So maybe go to 15. And if 15 is sort of too bright, I don't think 15 seconds would be too bright, to be honest with you. But play around with that. I was shooting between 200 ISO and 400 last night for the whole night, and I was mainly doing 25 seconds at f4. If you've got 2.8, you can go lower and play around with it, but just tweak your setting, but start off at that. Start at 400 ISO, 20 seconds with your lowest aperture and see how it goes with manual focus. Like I say, if you have a intervalometer or a plug-in shutter release, you don't need to do the self-timer, because you can just sort of, it's plugged in, you press it here, you're not going to avoid that camera shake, which is the biggest thing. You don't want that, especially when taking those long exposures. So for my Nikon users or any other user, if you don't have that little button there or you can't find a way to get to it, you can go to it in your menus. So if you go timers, wherever it is, mine's in custom settings, but yours might be in shoot. If you go timers, you've got a shutter release and a self timer. So you can go in there and go, right, 1 second, and you can change that. So you could do, right, I want to do and take, I don't know, 10 photos, which is what you might do if you do more advanced, or 9, which is what it let me to do, with a half a second delay in between and that self timer. Whatever you want to do and play around with it. I say just stick to the basics, just do one for now to avoid that camera shake. So there you go, super quick video. I hope those tips help. Be safe, obviously, wrap up warm as well if you're going to be there for a little while. Be conscious of other photographers as well. There's going to be a lot of people out there tonight trying to take these pictures as well. So if you're wandering around with a head torch, please don't, because it will affect their photos as much as possible. Obviously get to where you need to and then turn that off. That's absolutely fine. But most importantly, enjoy it. And also, top tip, as I'm going to leave you with that, use your mobile phone, scan the sky when you're looking north. That will show you where it is, and then you know where to point with your actual camera. So just use the phone, go, right, that's what I want to aim for, try and set that up, take a test photo and see how that goes. Good luck.